figure I'm faster than at least half the people in here, so I'm just gonna mosey towards the door. Cover me, Cody. Let's go. I'm Erick Baker, and I've lived in Tennessee my entire life. However, for the last decade, touring the world, I've only seen it passing by from a windshield. But finally, Tennessee is calling me back where I belong. There's a place you've never been that's right where you want to be. I want to rediscover how great my home state is, and I want you to come with me. Uncharted. Many go fishing all their lives without knowing it's not fish they are after. Henry David Thoreau. If you followed me much at all these past 2 seasons, then you know fishing has been a bit of a struggle for me. While documenting my first-time failures and showing viewers how to overcome obstacles to the outdoors are the reasons I joined this show, 2 seasons of feeling like you're coming up a little short can really set back your self-confidence. So when my producer first approached me about this episode, I looked at her and nodded. This one was fish or bust. My mission, simply put, was to measure up. To the fish, sure, but more so to myself. Boy, I could spend $1 million in here.
You gotta be careful.
Man, it's amazing in here. Yeah. So you're way more than just a storefront though, right? I mean, you can come here and get outfitted with rods and all the gear, but...
Yep, yeah, we do the whole 9 yards, fly fishing classes, fly fishing 101 classes, schools. We've got endorsed guides we can hook you up with. And
let's just start with the class.
Yeah, so fly fishing 101, basic casting instruction,
okay.
And basic knot tying and rigging. So it's designed for the newbie that's never even touched a fly rod before. Thanks.
Okay.
After that, we do a free fly fishing 201, where we actually take you on water and try to get you to catch your first fish on a fly. Fly fishing can seem really complicated, and it can actually be really simple and a lot of fun, and you can keep it as simple as you want, or you can make it as complicated as you want. It's really a pastime that you can grow throughout your entire life, so you really can't ever master it.
Well, let's get started, I guess. I'm truly ready. I'm ready to learn. This is,
Sounds
and
good.
hopefully catch something.
Sounds great.
Other than my jacket. When I think of the ultimate man, I always think of my dad. From my perspective, he somehow seemed to know how everything was done, rarely faltered, and never showed fear. It was a badge of behavior that I believe would be biologically betrothed at a certain unknown interval, and I waited with anticipation of its arrival. Many years later, heart heavy with having held my breath so long, I accepted that maturity is made rather than inherited. I know now that my dad was actually afraid quite frequently. He made decisions hoping for the best, but never having a guarantee. He was brave and dedicated. But most importantly, he always did his best, regardless of all the reasons, to just do good enough. It's a simple concept, but multiplied over many years, it adds up to a legacy worth leaving behind. In the legacy of landing a big fish on your fly rod, there's simply no room for good enough. You'll get tired, you'll probably get cold, and depending on whether you got your waders from Orvis or not, chances are you'll end up wet more often than dry. It's not about the factors working against you, but instead whether you have the wherewithal to keep your composure and continue to cast. Today, I caught a lot more than a quick tutorial at Orvis. I caught on to the importance of consistency at all costs. And by the end of the day, I caught my first fish as well. it's official. I'm a fly fisherman now, right? Come on. When it comes to doing things right, Elliot's was founded on the idea of operating outside the ordinary. And what has emerged 34 years later is nothing short of exceptional. So in addition to sifting through a selection of water shoes to see me through my fly fishing future, I stopped in at the Farragut store for a quick summary on what has set Elliot's apart for over 3 decades. But as I look around, you guys have way more than just boots. So I kind of thought this was just a boot store, but clearly not. So I guess tell me what Elliot's is all about.
My father started a business back in 1982.
Okay.
Started it in a 2-bedroom apartment. Him and his wife were in 1 bedroom, and the shoes were in the other bedroom.
Oh, man.
And all we did was sell safety shoes.
Now, when you say safety shoes, what exactly, I mean...
That's a great question, because most people don't know. A safety shoe is a shoe that's worn generally in manufacturing, even though America's trending more towards the service industry, but it started in manufacturing, and it's a shoe that protects your foot.
Okay. So like a steel toe?
Generally, the protection is around your toe.
Okay.
But there's lots of other types of occupational footwear. And right now, we always focus on like top of category product with our footwear. That's always been where we've had our success. So we've always stayed at top of category.
Yeah,
top of category.
quality.
Doesn't mean that it's so expensive you can't afford it, but top of category. This stuff is going to perform the way you want it to perform.
Okay.
It's going to do what you expect it to do. And if it doesn't, we'll stand behind it.
Okay.
So that's kind of how we've branched out into other products too. We don't try and reinvent the wheel, but we're doing the other popular things that we're bringing in the other popular items that our customers like.
Mm-hmm. As a singer-songwriter, I've bought more than a few pair of boots, and on each occasion, looked to my local Elliots to help me in making a memorable selection. Because of these visits, I already knew that I was in store for quality and customer service. But as the lives of Elliott's clientele have grown, Elliott's inventory has grown right along with them. And shoes may make it easier to get into the great outdoors, but the sunglasses, camping chairs, and coolers will guarantee you have a great time once you're out there. As familiar as you may be with their brick and mortar mainstays, the Elliot story actually started with a mobile model. So after settling my bill, I threw my shopping bags in the back of one of their big rigs, and I hopped in the cab to make back a little spending money. First ride in the big rig. Let's go to work. So you said you travel, you're on the road a lot.
Usually 5 days a week, sometimes 6.
Okay. And you're traveling all over Tennessee?
All over East Tennessee. I travel a lot between Knoxville and Dalton, Georgia.
Okay.
And that's a frequent road for me.
So why a mobile store?
A mobile store is bringing the convenience of a store to the work site. For instance, in the morning time at 5 a.m. in the morning, you know, they can come out and get boots. You can't do that at a store.
Right, right.
So they can come and take care of their business, and when they get off of work at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, they go to the house.
What are some of the challenges?
Challenges is you get a couple guys in here, we're size 4, and I'm supposed to have a pair of shoes for them.
Oh, wow.
And I do have them.
Yeah.
I do have them. Some of these guys think I pull some tricks out of the bag sometimes when they come in, a 14 wide or a 15 wide.
Right.
Or a 4, and they think that I've, you know, well, you're not going to have my size, and we surprise them. I normally carry on this truck normally between 14 and 1,500 pair of boots, which is by far sometimes more than most stores carry.
3 decades ago, the Elliott's family made a firm commitment to customer service. Good stuff that works, their motto claims. But what's really working has been their willingness to meet their customers where they're at. Whether that means taking a few tons of safety shoes out to a job site, or increasing their inventory so your Saturday shopping list is one stop shorter. I'm jacking the system all up, probably. To be truthful, lasting legacies seem to be something that we specialize in here in Tennessee. We can philosophize over the source of these successes, but as far as I can see, it's as simple as taking pride in the products you produce. For the folks at Lodge Manufacturing, their foundry has cast their commitment to quality in iron for more than a century, setting them up to be as celebrated by chefs as they are campfire customs and special family recipes. As I mentioned earlier, having heart and having success don't necessarily go hand in hand. No matter what gifts you've been given in this life, success will always be below the surface. You might catch glimpses that give you hope, but all you can really ever do is put your very best out there and keep casting. So, what's different from your first day 47 years ago to today when you come into work?
Well, I probably didn't know squat back 47 years ago, and I know very little beyond that even now. You know?
Oh, come on, you've had to have learned a ton.
Well, I've seen a lot of change.
Yeah, so let's just kind of walk through that. What was the company like?
Let me give you a little family history first.
Okay.
The company was founded by my great-grandfather, Joseph Lodge, 120 years ago. And the company was originally known as the Blacklock Foundry in honor of Harry Blacklock, an Episcopal priest here in town. Joseph was a Midas guy. And so from 1896 to 1909, when the foundry burned, we relocated here in 1910 and was rechartered as Lodge Manufacturing.
Both my grandparents, their kitchen, my mom's kitchen, and this was the first gift that my parents got, my wife and I, when we got married. And I say this is like the cornerstone of every kitchen, and around the world now. And knowing that you are making a product that is going to be handed down, from generations to generations.
Absolutely.
What does that mean to you?
Well, grandmother was right. Cast iron cooks best.
Yeah.
It's good for the body. It imparts dietary iron into the food, which is absorbed by the body. So it's healthy to cook in. It's good for the earth because it's sustainable. It has heirloom durability.
So, man, buying a Lodge cast iron skillet, you're doing a lot of good for a lot of things, right? In just one purchase.
Yeah, to buy this pan for $20 that can cook anything and everything and last a lifetime, what other products can claim that?
Totally. So over 30 years, I guess a lot has changed, but quality is the one thing that's remained the same.
Continuing to maintain, to work at, is to make sure that we have good quality product. That's always been the main focus of Lodge, and so that's why we've been so successful in that we have always made that our top priority.
When you see these skillets coming off, and you see that Lodge logo, what does it mean personally?
Oh, it brings you a lot of pride. We were in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago at the restaurant, and they served some of what we had in Lodge products. And so and my wife, it just blew her away, but we asked them, they had just started using them that week, but it really brings you a lot of pride. You feel good wherever you are and you see that Lodge logo.
My field trips with the teams at Elliott's and Lodge taught me about a lot more than just safety shoes and skillets. There's just something to be said for drawing a line in the sand and casting your standards with clarity. Tomorrow, the crew and I will head out on the Hiwassee, hoping to haul in trout after trophy trout. And whether it takes me one day or a dozen, I have my own set of dreams and aspirations that I'm after on our outing. I want to forget that we're filming, forget that we're fishing, to stop counting and comparing. I just want to get lost in laying my line over the surface of the stream until my best is in fact good enough. For the trout, sure, but more so for me. As a songwriter, I'm all too familiar with chasing successes that can't be easily quantified. It's frustrating when I'm trying to find my way, pushing my pen into the paper without making my point. It's a process that can't be rushed, and it's entirely my own, wandering to write the words that feel right. There's always that moment, though, that little bobble at the end of the line where you finally realize that you've hooked into something real. And just that's enough, really. After that, you're ready to cast and cast until finally you find that feeling once more. To me, there's just something about good company and getting out of your head that go together like tippet and topwater. As TWRA Fisheries Program Manager here in Region 3, seeking sanctuary on Tennessee streams is second nature to Mark Thurman. For Mark, this waterway flows with far more meaning than most. It ripples with years of real work, no guarantees, and an unsinkable sense of serving this stream, as well as those who enjoy it. But today isn't about data samples and survey sizes. It's about standing side by side, a guide and two anglers, and each searching for success by our own definitions. I haven't really thought about anything. I've just been fishing. You know, it's like, I mean, that zen state of like, I know time has passed, yet, I don't know, it's been pretty amazing.
And for all I knew, we could have floated 40 miles rather than just down to Towey Creek.
We've gone 2 miles. We got 4 more to go.
Man.
That's something, isn't it?
That is.
The whole section of river that we're floating today is through National Forest. So there's no private land anywhere on this river.
Totally.
And up above us for miles is all National Forest.
Okay.
So the river's really well protected.
So, talking about the fishery and talking about what TWRA has done to, I mean, we were kind of talking about the peaks and valleys that a river goes through, and that right now this river is kind of on an upswing as far as how good the fishing is.
There are a few tailwaters in the state where you have reproduction in the fish will spawn, and you have wild fish out there. And then most tailwaters you've got to stock to maintain quality fishing. And you know, we've tried. I think we've been through a lot of different phases as far as management, different strategies, and the one that we've settled on here that seems to really be working and providing quality fishing and fishing for everybody is with having a delayed harvest season. So in the fall, we'll do some heavy stocking and we put some good fish in going into that fall season. And it's catch and release fishing from Reliance up to the Powerhouse from October through the end of February.
The Hiwassee is different in the fact that it's very characteristic of a big western river in the fact that it's big and wide and shallow.
Right.
And when they're generating water here, you can fish it and float it and fish it. A lot of tailwaters, when they generate, are blown out. So the only time that people get to fish those rivers is when they're not generating.
In talking about just the overall management of the river, like what is your hope? Like, you know, I mean, when you in a perfect world, as you look out down the river, I mean, what is it that you want to see?
You know, my goal is to just maintain the highest quality of fishing. That's our agency's goal, is to maintain quality fishing. You know, this is a river where you've got a lot of different stakeholders. You know, we talked earlier, we've got tubers and kayakers and...
Which you welcome, right?
It's great,
I mean,
yeah. It's great. It's a good example of multiple stakeholder groups sharing a resource. It's wide enough that you can get over in the places you want to fish, and there's room. But it's a good example of how, for years, people have gotten along on this river. I mean, it's the norm to have this much traffic, and this much traffic means that a lot of people are coming to Polk County, and they're visiting Polk County and enjoying their stay here and enjoying their national forest and a state scenic river. So, you know, it's just a good example of multiple stakeholders sharing a resource.
Well, as a regular dude, you know, just coming to enjoy the resource, what are things that people can do? You know, I mean, beyond, I mean, clearly buying a fishing license is that most important? I mean, what else? What can we do to help? Because I mean, being out here today and taking all that in, it's like, man, I mean, this has to be here for my kids' kids.
Well, you just said it. Get
Yeah.
the kids here. Bring young people.
Yeah.
You know, that's how we have to grow the knowledge with the younger generations so that they'll be able to not only enjoy it but protect it too, because they're going to have a whole different set of challenges than we do. That's for sure.
Speaking of challenges, I've had the best day of fishing in my life so far today. And while I'd like my newfound commitment to casting to take all the credit, I'd be leaving out a long list of fisheries staff who live and breathe the health of this river to ensure that moments like mine aren't one in a million. So is this something, how long has this been going on? I mean, this is a part, we're witnessing part of the management process.
Yeah, this is part of the management. This is what you would consider our monitoring, you know, just to kind of keep track of things. This is a very important fishery. You know, when we came out and we went fishing with the Southeastern anglers, you know, there's a lot of interest in this river. People love to fish it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place to fish. And it means a lot to Polk County that this fishery exists here and is a big driver of tourism for this area. So it's important to a lot of people. And, you know, it's part of our monitoring here, and that feeds our management.
Difficult and how unique is it to work on the Hiwassee?
I mean, just look around. I mean, you've been on the Caney Fork, you've been on some other places.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great rivers, don't get me wrong, but this one, just the scenery and the beauty of it alone is something special to work in.
Right.
But being in that raft and shocking is something different, because normally we have two guys on the bow of an aluminum hull boat.
Right.
And we're, you know, if somebody misses one, we can stop, you know, kind of go around. There's none of that.
As a fisherman raises concern about, you know, license prices and trout stamps and everything, their license that they bought has gone in to helping your management plan. And now as we, you know, see all these amazing fish in this beautiful place, they've played a big part in that.
They're funding our state hatcheries, and that's huge for us right now with these brown trout. And like I said before, we shifted our stocking regime for brown trout. Normally we were stocking about half the fish as fingerlings, 3 to 4 inches in the fall, and the other half maybe 7 to 8 inches in the spring. Well, those smaller fish in the fall, we took them from Del Hollow National Fish Hatchery, that's, you know, Fish and Wildlife Service funded. We take those fish and to take them to Tellico Hatchery. He holds them for a year. The staff there at Tellico holds them for a year, and you get a 3 to 4 inch fish up to 10, 12, 14 inches, and we stock them. So, and that's a lot of money to go into that. It's
totally, a lot of time.
A lot of time, a lot of food.
Yeah.
But it's something on this river where it has limited productivity as far as year-round temperatures. It needs that extra large fish to go into it. And it's not a lot compared to other places, but for this, everything helps.
We lost count of how many fish we caught on this trip. Just like how many shoes Elliot's has sold in the last 30 years, or how many skillets Lodge has cast in the past 100, we stopped fixating on quantity and we focused on quality instead. Now, I'm not gonna lie and tell you that taking a class or trying something new gets easier the older you are. As adults, our minds are minefields of infrastructure and routine. And what was once boundless can easily become closed off. But when we go that extra mile and explore outside the enclosures of our everyday, what we find is bound to be exceptional, whether it be within our environment or within ourselves. I certainly found what I was looking for this trip. I took on my toughest critic and sent all my self-doubt packing. However, I'm sure that just like the crisp chill of the Hiwassee, eventually those insecurities will slowly creep back up again. Having surrounded myself with folks who fearlessly pursue what they feel is right, and having held the fruits of their labor in my hands, I feel like I hooked into something really special today, and it's called hope. And that's enough, really. For a fishing trip, sure, but more so for myself.